Kevin Coop here, and this is FaceTime with the Content Guy, coming to you this morning from the new 365 by Whole Foods store in Lake Oswego, Oregon. It's the second one of these stores that the company has opened, and I wanted to take a look at it and report back to you. You know, when Whole Foods talked about putting this concept together, they talked about a number of things. They talked about the fact that they wanted to have lower prices because they were concerned about their whole paycheck image. They wanted to have a better use of technology. They wanted to have a more limited assortment with a greater focus on private label. And basically they hoped that all these things would add up to a greater appeal to millennials who they thought they might be losing in the marketing wars. Well, basically, having spent some time here in the store this morning, I'm here to tell you that I think I'd probably give them about a C+, or as Mrs. Content Guy, a third grade teacher, would put it, definitely needs improvement. You know, one of my concerns about this whole concept from the time I started hearing about it was that it might end up being more derivative than differentiated, and I'm afraid my fears have to some degree been borne out. In so many ways, the store feels like Trader Joe's and Costco got together and had a baby. The shelves in the grocery aisles, they look like they were stolen out of the Trader Joe's warehouse, and the coffin cases, they look like they're right out of the Trader Joe's playbook. You know, there are lots of wide aisles, and that feels a lot like Costco. But I'm not sure that they're doing enough in terms of differentiate themselves to make them feel entirely different, something new and unique. And the thing about those coffee cases, by the way, they obscure the product. They don't highlight it, and that's a dangerous thing to do. Now, listen, there are some nice touches. There's a cold room, for example, in the produce department. And there's a good use of electronic signage, except the problem with the signage is, well, twofold. First of all, I'm not sure it's any cheaper to do it that way. It sort of works against the low price image. And the other thing is, when you walk into the store, there's a total dearth of price signage. You would never get the sense walking into the store that this is a price-oriented store, and I think that could be a real mistake for the company. You know, listen, they're selling bananas for 19 cents a piece, and organic bananas for 29 cents a piece. That doesn't sound particularly cheap to me, and as I've kind of surveyed the store, and this is not scientific, it hasn't struck me that the prices on the product are significantly cheaper, if cheaper at all, than at a traditional Whole Foods store. It's also, frankly, a ton of labor, and you would think labor would be something they'd want to cut out of the system. Now, there's somewhat less labor because there are no real service departments to speak of, but but there's a lot of labor in the store. Now, two things. First of all, it's a new store. You tend to have more labor in the beginning. Also, it so happens that John Mackey and Walter Robb are here today, so maybe that's one of the reasons there's more labor, but it seems to me that's something they're going to have to bring down long term. You know, and I tell you, while I like the technology, some of it just seems awkward. I'll give you an example. In the wine department, they have this tablet computer which allows you to scan the wine, and it's going to give you more information about it. But the problem is, all it gives you is these really short 1 or 2 line reviews by people. You have no idea who they are. What's their expertise? Do they have decent taste in wine? And it doesn't answer one of the main questions that, you know, such a kiosk should answer, which is, what does this go with in terms of food? Or I'm having this, will this go with it? If you don't answer that question, what's the use of the technology? I think maybe they're going to grow it, maybe they'll do something different with it, but it's hard to say at this point. And the other thing, cardinal sin as far as I'm concerned, there's more California Pinots on those shelves than there are Oregon Pinots, and I can't imagine why they want to do that in a store that should be more locally focused. Now, as I said, I'll put pictures on the text version of this so you get a better sense of it yourself. It's early in the 365 development phase. I'll be curious to see where it goes. The class I'm teaching at Portland State, one of their assignments is to come to the store and write about what they see and what they find appealing and not appealing. These are all millennials. I'll report back to you as the summer goes on and let you know what they thought. And listen, to be fair, I talked to some customers who really liked it, who thought this was a refreshing addition to local shopping options. So, you know, I'm not the only person who should be commenting on this. There's going to be a lot of different feelings about it. But basically, here's my grades. Gets a C+. It seems derivative rather than differentiated, and it definitely needs improvement. Anyway, that's what's on my mind this morning, and as always, I want to hear what's on your mind.